Sree Ganesha Sharada Gurubhyo Namaha Sindhuraruna Vigraham Trinayanam Manikyamaulispurat Taranayaka Shekharam Smitamukhim Apinamakshuruham Panibhyam Alipurna Ratna Chashakam Raktotpalam Bibhratim Saumyam Ratna Gadastha Rakta Charanam Dhyayet Param Ambika. Welcome to all for this session on Lalitopakhyanam. As we have seen in the previous chapter, Brandasura was lamenting for the loss of his 30 sons at the hands of Bala Tripurasundari, and at the end he ordered Vishukra to go alone into the war with a large army and throw a Jaya Vighna Yantra in the mid of the Shakti army, so that the Shakti army will lose the enthusiasm for winning because of the effect of Jaya Vighna Yantra, and then the victory will certainly be on their side. And Vishukra vowed that he would lie unseen to the ranks of the Shakti armies and paralyze the Shakti host with indolence and sleepiness and unwillingness towards effort. He immediately ascended his Maya chariot and, becoming invisible, sped away in the direction of Lalita's war camp. No sooner had Vishukra departed than sun began to set again, and Sandhya proceeded to Patala. The stars innumerable sprang into view in the firmament. The ensuing darkness was a good ally to Vishukra on his deadly mission. Arriving at Lalita's camp, he was surprised and disappointed at first seeing the high fence of flame surrounding it. However, he went around the fence, keeping at a respectable distance from it, and soon he espied the opening on the southern side. As he approached the gate with intent to enter it, he discovered that the opening was well guarded by powerful Shaktis and 20 Akshohinis headed by Stambhini Devi. Finding that entry was practically impossible, Vishukra started preparing the Jaya Vighna Yantra, remaining at a distance from the flaming fence. He inscribed the powerful mantra on a slab of stone, put 8 Samhara Sulas at its 8 corners, and invoked the devatas Alasa, Upana, Dina, Nidra, Andra, Pramilika, Vaibhya Kliva, and Nirahankara with the tips of 8 tridents, pronounced appropriate mantras, and worshipped it with powerful incantations. He then sacrificed cows and goats as per the rules of the prescribed ritual. Then, taking the mighty yantra in his hefty hands, he threw it with all his might so that it flew over the flaming fence and fell into the midst of Shakti's army. Immediately, the Shakti damsels became tired and began to yawn, grumble, and revolt with insubordination. They threw away their weapons, unwilling to fight anymore. Some among them said, "Why fight for victory against the Rakshasas and kill them unnecessarily? Why incur sin by himsa of other pranis? Let us all refuse to fight. What is it that we gain by victory? Why should we bother to avenge the devas and suras? Who is our boss? Why should we serve anyone? It is our wish to serve or not to serve. Who can force us to serve against our will? Who is Lalita? Who is Kameshwara? Who is Dandini? Who is Chandika? And who is Mantrini? Why should we sacrifice our lives for their sake? What do we gain thereby? Let us not fight anymore. No more war for us. No more effort only drives away luxury. happiness and enjoyment. Sleep, on the other hand, gives comfort and rest and happiness. Laziness is a wonderful and joyful experience. Delay is enjoyable. Why worry? Why make effort? Let us throw down all our weapons and relax and enjoy restful and lazy sleep. What can our queen do to us? How can she punish us if all of us join together and strike work unitedly? Thus, with confused minds, the Shakti damsels threw away their weapons and laced in indolence with insolence. After Vishukra had thrown his powerful Jaya Vighna Yantra into the mid of the Shakti host, he returned to Shunyakapuri with intent to successfully invade at midnight Lalita's stronghold, now rendered ineffective by his yantra. He gathered around him 30 Akshohinis, and at dead of night reached the flaming fence and blew his trumpets, calling the Shakti host to meet him in battle. Not a damsel stirred in reply. They lazed and behaved as though they were unconcerned. They were not going to fight anymore for anybody's sake. They had laid down their weapons and with them their jobs too. Shyamala and Dandini, seeing that they could not rouse them to action, conferred in private thus: What has come over our armies now? Why are they indolent, sleepy, insolent, and prone to insubordination? Who is responsible for this state of affairs? Why heed not our they do not hear to our words, nor do they worship our queen Lalitamba. They refuse to take up arms. What could the reason be? Thus discussing, they decided to take the matter to the notice of their queen. Said Shyamala to Sree Devi, Parameshwari, we know not why, but our Shakti armies are unwilling to fight the foe. They say it is Himsa to kill. They have ceased to obey our orders, nor do they worship you. They are lazing about and inviting sleep and indolence. They are not skillful with their arms anymore, for they have thrown them away in disgust. They abuse us and call us all sorts of names. They say, Who is Mantrini and who is Dandini to us? Our armies are thus indolent and insolent. At the same time, outside the burning flames, the Danava chief has laid siege and is calling us to war or to surrender. They are blowing their trumpets haughtily. Please tell us what we can do under the circumstances. Lalitamba then beheld the Rakshasa's Maya in her mind and decided to trample down his pride. She turned her face to Lord Kameshwara and amorously looking into his eyes, smiling sweetly at Kameshwara, and he smiled back at her with divine intent. And to the joy of devas, from the junction of the two radiant sacred smiles was born Maha Ganesha. His head was that of the mighty elephant, and his body was red, surpassing the petals of japa flower. In his 10 powerful hands he held a club, a rosary, a sugarcane bow, trident, a lotus, noose, an utpala, a jewel-studded pot, and a discus. He was pot-bellied and wore the crescent moon on his head. He was most handsome and radiant with Siddhi and Kirti by his side. Thus, in this portion of the story, we have seen Bandasura once again taking to a covert means of fighting, and he ordered Vishukra to throw the Jaya Vighna Yantra amid in the mid of Shakti army. As Vishukra approached the Shakti army, he was discouraged by a huge fence of the flame burning around the Shakti army, giving the protection for them. Unable to cross it, he came to the southern entrance. Even there, it was guarded by Stambhini Devi, and then he created the Jaya Vighna Yantra on a stone by invoking the corresponding devatas to its corners, and then he threw it with all his might in the mid of the Shakti army. The Jaya Vighna Yantra started bearing its effect on the Shakti army, where every soldier started losing interest in the battle, and they were all started getting interested only in a lazy sleep. And they started disrespecting their commanders Mantrini and Dandini, and then they stopped worshipping even Devi Sree Lalita. On seeing the happening in the mid of their army, Mantrini and Dandini Devi reported it to Lalitamba, and Lalitamba realized the Vigna Yantra thrown in by Vishukra. She invoked Maha Ganesha, having a large elephant head, holding several arms in all his hands. And the most beautiful, he entered into the battle into the mid of the Shakti army to put an end to the Maha Vigna Yantra. The Vignaharta Ganesha himself came to the spot. Namaste Sharada Devi, Kashmira Puramasini, Twamaham Prarthaye Nityam, Vidya Danancha Dehime. Goodbye.